UFC 311 went down on Saturday from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. Again, our thoughts are with everyone dealing with everything that they are out in Los Angeles. In the main event, Islam Makhachev with a resounding victory over Renato Moicano. A submission win in the first round gets the job done, fighting Moicano on about 30 hours notice. A very interesting weekend culminating not in the most climactic of finishes. It was the pound for pound best fighter in the world going out and getting the sorry, I'm all choked up about it. Going out and getting the job done. And that's really all Makhachev could do, right? He was in a bit of a no-win situation where there was going to be that this was either going to be one of the great upsets of all time, or he was going to go out and do what he was supposed to do. And he went out and did what he was supposed to do. There isn't a whole lot you can really, I think, take away from this performance. It's the stand-up still, I think, needs the slightest bit of work. He got popped a couple of times before he gets that takedown, but he gets the takedown. It is smothering, not even ground and pound, just smothering ground control. And then Moicano did what we said he needed to do. He needed to make it be a little bit chaotic in a grappling sense. And so he creates a bit of a scramble. The problem is Makhachev saw a neck and pounced on it, and he locked in that choke tight. And so that, I think, is the big takeaway here for Makhachev, is we know the wrestling is like just smothering. And we know submission-wise that the guy's got a pretty deep bag. And he really latched onto that choke, I think, really quickly. Created the scramble and was able to really lock that thing in. And I was really impressed by that. Like, just, it's a scramble. It's a bit of a chaotic situation. There's a neck, boom. Like, it was so quick and so strong and so tight. The technical acumen that you need to pull something off like that, chef's kiss. 10 out of 10, no notes. Brilliance. Absolute brilliance from Islam Makhachev. And from Moicano, like, he gave him a couple problems on the feet, pop. One time he slipped, but he still landed pretty well in the stand-up there, and I think accounted for himself pretty well. It does kind of show he's not on the championship level, and I think he kind of came to that realization, and I don't know if a full training camp was going to change the outcome here. And so at 35, you do a little bit of soul-searching now, of like, okay, that was not close. He wasn't training for me at all, and he still kind of knew what to do. So I have a lot that I need to adjust to, and maybe another level that I need to find, which is very difficult to do in the lighter weight classes at 35 years old. But still, for Moicano, bravo to him for taking this fight and for doing exactly what he needed to do. Just wasn't quite at the level that he needed to do it at. Then we get into a spectacular fight in the Bantamweight Championship bout as Merab Dvalishvili holds on by unanimous decision to retain the Bantamweight Championship of the world with a victory over Umar Nurmagomedov. This was a star-making night for Merab Dvalishvili as the Bantamweight champion. We said coming in, it is very weird to have a champion come in as an underdog, coming off of his first title loss over a notable name, and have us saying, yeah, he's kind of got a rebound from that win that he had. It wasn't a exciting fight at all against Sean O'Malley, and this was the opposite. He was in this guy's face the whole time and putting the pressure on. And by the end of the night, you had a crowd cheering for takedowns. In the year of our gods, 2025, you know how hard it is to get people to cheer for takedowns in this sport? But the people were so behind him that he gets a takedown and the place erupts. It was like GSP getting a takedown in Montreal. On that note, Merab passes GSP for most takedowns in the history of the UFC with, he spammed that takedown attempt button and didn't finish all of them, but he forced Umar to defend them so often. And that was the big thing, is that Merab, he actually had more success landing on the feet than he did in landing any takedowns. It was a constant offensive attack, and it really shifted in the last minute and a half of the second round. Umar won the first, in my opinion. Close round, but he lands a big shot late in the round that ends up, I think, sealing it. And then in the second round, Umar is in control again, but they get back to the feet, and there was something that was said in the Longo Serra corner with Merab in between rounds, where they said, you need to get on the front foot and go. He is not hitting you as hard or as much when you are pressuring him and on the attack. You need to be the one dictating the pace. And the second he got up from that takedown, he was the one dictating the pace. He was pushing the whole time, and Umar didn't have a response for it. He tried. Like, it's not like Umar got shut out here or anything like that, but down 2-0 with his championship on the line against an undefeated cousin of a prodigy, he goes out and shuts the dude out in rounds 3, 4, and 5 to retain his championship in an unbelievable performance. It's like I said, it's a star-making night for Merab. What he was able to do on the feet, it wasn't the prettiest, but he's able to get inside quickly with his hands and then either go for a takedown or continue to work the boxing style. But the thing that I really liked about him was that he was able, a lot of times we'll talk about landing on exit. And I feel like that is an easy way to just steal a couple of really good punches and keep kind of the momentum on your side. And because if you are exiting from something, you have either attempted a takedown and failed, or the other guy has dictated where the fight is going, other guy or girl. In this case, guy. The other guy has dictated where the fight is going by engaging with you in some way. So either way, it is not a win for you. And so if you can just land a nice little pop, a lot of guys aren't defending as they're breaking out of that, right? Like, that is a time where the hands are down and you're just kind of resetting. So it's a almost free chance to get a couple of good pops in and also kind of shift that momentum back in your way. Merab did that brilliantly. There was not one exchange that he didn't leave it having landed a couple ones. The thing that I really liked about him is that he had such confidence in his takedown defense that he would land as Nurmagomedov was coming in for a takedown. Umar would enter in for a takedown, and instead of like trying to pummel under and get the get those underhooks and start defending the takedown that way, he just lands like punching down like little pop or a couple of hooks there to land that, and then he goes into phenomenal elite level takedown defense. Umar can't get the takedown, pop again. And he was really, really excellent at doing that. And just everything he did made him more popular. It is the exact performance he needed coming out of the Sean O'Malley fight. For Umar, I think a tactical error was made. And I want to stress very clearly that I am at no point ever going to suggest that I know more about MMA than anyone in the Nurmagomedov family. Khabib's his head coach and is showed that he is one of the great coaches, coming off of one of the great careers anyone has ever had in the history of combat sports. So I am not in any way saying, well, I know better than these guys. It is just a thing they did that I disagree with, which, I mean, got a podcast. That's what I do. Tell you what I'm disagreeing with. At the end of the second round, Merab has just started to push the pace a little bit. They go to the corner and say, enough with the stand-up stuff. It's time to wrestle him now. It is time to grind him out, and it is time to do that. And I think I don't want to say arrogance. I'll just say confidence. You hear Nurmagomedov, and what do you think? You think Khabib taking down everyone, slamming them down, and grinding it out. And I would assume that would be kind of the coaching style, right? Like, he's coaching Makhachev, and that's what they do. But Umar is a bit of a different animal in that his stand-up is, I think, more advanced than Khabib's ever was, and certainly than Makhachev's is. And it felt like the way that he was going to win that fight was actually to keep this fight standing and to get it that way. But I think they really believed that they had the better wrestler who had more cardio. And they're up 2-0, so let's start to wear on this guy now and just grind him down, and we're going to be able to get out of here and break him. And they never did. And that's where I think it really shifted, because they're trying now, focusing on the takedowns. Merab is doing a great job of landing on entry and exit, and that is allowing him to build momentum, and he's stopping every takedown. He had elite level takedown defense, and so Umar is wasting all this energy trying to get the takedowns, getting blitzed at least 4 times in and out, and is starting to lose stamina, and he's starting to lose the fight. And now Merab's pushing forward, and Umar, instead of sticking what was a pretty good jab out and slowing things down, he's seeing this forward pressure. All right, I'm going to try to catch him off balance and go for the takedown. Merab has been off balance for exactly 0 seconds of his life. I am assuming that he came out of the womb and shot a double leg on the referee, on the doctor there, screwing up jokes. But still, like, this guy, he has never been off balance. And so I just feel like for Umar, who had the stand-up advantage in that fight, and really showcased that in the first couple of rounds to shift to a wrestling base in the third, fourth, and fifth round as Merab is coming forward and really dictating it. It felt like a tactical error from that side, and it felt like it really did cost them in this one. And who knows, maybe it doesn't. But I don't think that was the winning strategy at all. And then they kept with it in the fifth round, and Umar's exhausted. He had nothing left in the gas tank, and so he is trying these takedowns, and he just doesn't, like, he didn't have the stamina to do it before when he was fresh because Merab's takedown defense was so good. Now you have him exhausted and he's trying to do it. Like, there was nothing left. And so they wasted a lot of energy on a game plan that wasn't going to work, and it allowed Merab to fall right into the game plan of being able to really control a lot of this fight. It was, again, just a brilliant performance from Merab. And I think a quick little tactical error for Umar. They were talking on the broadcast about, hey, should we just like set the rematch now or do you want to wait till after the fight? If I'm in a perfect world, I think Umar needs to not fight Merab again right away. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned coming out of this fight. And I think that there needs to be a couple of fights where Umar implements that. Because I think if they fight again, the fight's going to go the same way. But I think if you give Umar a couple of fights against guys further down in the division, I'm not saying give up tune-up fights or anything like that, because that doesn't happen in the UFC. But if you give him a couple of fights against still high-level fighters to implement some of the stuff that he learned, I think that there is an ability to grow there. Because I think there is another level that Umar can get to. But this is the first time he's experiencing the championship rounds, really. It's so clearly a gigantic jump up in competition for him. And that really, it just like, he hasn't fought this many high level fighters. My last note in this one is that this fight was the difference between a great fighter and a champion. And that I think set back Umar a little bit. That he just was not on that championship level and has just not fought enough high level guys. This is now an opportunity for him to learn, put in those lessons against a couple of other fighters, and then come back and face Merab or whoever else is champion at the time and be able to implement them that way. So I would cool it a little bit on the immediate rematch stuff here with Umar Nurmagomedov. But still, a couple of very fun fights at the top of UFC 311.